Today's video is going to be about emotional eating, and I'm slightly smiling because I know that this video is going to piss a lot of people off. I am ready for this video to be more dislikes or the thumbs down thing than the video that I did about government guidelines or why not listening to them. I got a lot of thumbs down from that. People didn't like me saying that government guidelines on how much people should eat a day is shit. Anyway, emotional eating. I hate the term. I think it's the stupidest thing ever. But I think the term's irrelevant. I think emotional eating is eating. And the reason that the term emotional eating exists is because it's been used to try and say this type of eating is bad or unproductive or not warranted or too much, or for some reason this type of eating is undesirable to eat in an emotional manner. Now, this could be a very long video because you'd have to go into all the what do we define as emotion, like do we define, and that actually everything that we do is emotional. It's just that usually the emotions that we define as emotions are the more sort of like emotions of being upset or down or things like that. And let's define emotions as, or in the way that they should be, I think they are defined for emotional eating. And that is basically saying that when you're stressed, you eat more food. Now, a psychotherapist would say, when you're stressed, you eat more food because you are trying to fill an emotional void. And you're not smart enough to notice that filling your stomach is not the same as filling an emotional void, so you eat. And a different type of therapist might say that when you are feeling stressed or upset, you emotionally eat to try and distract yourself from the fact that you're feeling stressed or upset. Now, one thing that I would agree with both of those things is that for some people, when they are feeling stressed, their desire to consume food increases. But the bit that I don't agree on is that is to fill an emotional void or to even distract from the reality of life. Do you know why I think that is? It's going to be boringly biological. I think it's that because historically, for the evolved human, stress means a higher energetic expenditure. So yeah, in the last 100 years or so, when everybody's got desk jobs and stress is actually an email from your boss coming through, that doesn't necessarily require a higher energetic expenditure. But historically, stress would be things like running away from a moose or a bear or the pirates. Stress would actually mean that you've got to move your legs and go fast to get away from something that's stressing you, something that's causing you danger. And in that respect, isn't it entirely appropriate to eat more when things are stressful? Because you just ran away from the pirates, so you're probably hungry. Or stress might mean that something in the future was going to cause for a higher energetic expenditure. Or stress might mean that something in the future was going to mean that you couldn't eat as much. Talking about famine, of course. That could be a stress on the body, on the brain, on the person. And also just that stress would have been a much more sort of dangerous thing. You'd start to feel stress if you thought that you were going to get invaded by pirates, and you'd start maybe to need to eat more food to anticipate that we're going to be running away from the pirates for the next couple of weeks, so we better stock up right now. All I'm trying to say is that historically stress would have meant a higher energetic expenditure for the person who was feeling stressed. And so it's entirely appropriate in times of stress for people's bodies to want to consume more food. Even if, and even when, in today's environment, when stress doesn't necessarily mean that the pirates are going to come and get you or that the bears are hunting you, stress still means that you go into your sympathetic nervous system. That's the fight or flight one. That's the buzzy one. That's the can't relax one. That's the when you feel wired one. And feeling wired takes more energy away from your body than feeling relaxed does. I'm relaxed right now, I'm sitting in the armchair. If I was sitting here stressing about something, I would be having a higher energetic expenditure. Therefore, wouldn't it be entirely appropriate for me to want to eat more chocolate? Speaking of which, I kind of want to eat more chocolate anyway, even though I'm not stressed. And like, I'm eating chocolate. Am I emotionally eating? Who gives a fuck? Why does it matter why and how you define that? I just wanted to eat some chocolate. The fact that I'm not stressed, people would be like, oh, that's not emotional eating. But if I was stressed, eating this chocolate would be emotional eating. It's just eating. Anyway, so the main reason that I'm making this video is because somebody, hi, you know who you are. You're probably not going to like this answer, by the way, but emailed and said, what's the difference between mental hunger and emotional eating? And my answer to that is, why the fuck does that matter? Stinky agrees with me. Why the fuck does that matter? Why do we need to put a label on the reason why you're eating? You're eating because your body's hungry. The end. If it's hungry because it's stressed, it's still hungry. If it's hungry because you're recovering from malnutrition, it's still hungry. If you want to eat food, you're eating because your body's hungry. That's all. And if your body is hungry, your body's hungry because it is itself and it knows that it's hungry and it's deemed, for whatever reason, that it is appropriate for it to be hungry. You don't need to label it or worry about it or wonder, what is this hunger defined as? It doesn't matter. It's just the same thing. It's just hunger. Look, if you are sitting there asking yourself, is this mental hunger? Is this emotional hunger? Is this boredom hunger? Is this I'm in love hunger? Is this I hate someone hunger? Is this the cat is really pissing me off hunger? Is this I've got too much work to do hunger? You're overthinking it. It doesn't matter. If you're hungry, eat. Don't overanalyze it, don't overthink it. Pick up food, put it in your mouth, chew and swallow, repeat. It really can be and should be and is that simple. If you feel hungry, it's because your body has deemed it appropriate that you should feel hungry. And that's as much as you need to know. Stinky, are you emotionally eating, Stinky? Or are you boredom eating? Or are you hungry eating, Stinky? Stinky, which one is it? It's important. You can't eat unless you know why you're eating, Stinky.